Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today, we're heading to space.
To space.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
space. We're going to be talking about asteroid mining.
Right.
And specifically, we're going to be looking at two of the earliest companies that tried to really get this going,
Yeah.
Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industries.
Right.
And we're going to be using this really interesting academic chapter that kind of breaks down like all their visions and the technology and the challenges they faced and kind of what their impact has been.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
Planetary Resources. So they were founded in 2009.
Okay.
And their goal was nothing short of like, I guess you could say audacious.
Yeah, audacious is a good word for it.
Really ambitious. They wanted to use resources that were extracted from asteroids to like expand humanity out into space.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really interesting about Planetary Resources is that their focus was on platinum group metals.
Yeah, and that's key because these metals, they're super rare here on Earth.
Right.
But on some asteroids, they're like everywhere.
Oh, wow.
So Planetary Resources, they saw the potential to completely change certain industries,
Like what kind of industries?
like electronics and even clean energy,
Oh,
by using this extraterrestrial supply.
so instead of just focusing on the stuff you need to like survive in space,
Right.
they were aiming for these high value resources.
Okay.
And they were thinking that this could maybe like create a whole new economic system.
It was a bold vision, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure it was.
But to actually make it happen, they needed a way to find and then analyze
Mhm.
these asteroids that had all this muddle on them.
Okay, so how did they do that?
Well, that's where their Arkyd satellites come in.
Okay, I've heard of those. Were those just like normal satellites or?
Not really, no.
Ah.
They were developing these special imaging systems
Oh,
called hyperspectral imaging.
wow.
Super high-tech at the time.
Yeah.
And it allowed them to basically identify the minerals on an asteroid surface from far away.
Oh, wow.
So they were kind of scanning asteroids from a distance.
So they could find the ones with the most, valuable resources.
Exactly. They were prospecting for space treasure.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
But I also understand that they had this like kind of more down-to-earth business plan too.
Yes, that's where their two-pronged approach comes in.
Okay.
They weren't only focused on this long-term goal of asteroid mining.
Yeah.
They were also trying to make money in the meantime
How so?
by using those same Arkyd satellites to collect Earth observation data.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, so one foot in the present,
All right.
giving us helpful data about our planet,
Yeah.
and the other foot reaching for the stars.
Literally.
Literally.
That's really smart, balancing, short-term and long-term goals.
It was a clever strategy.
But they hit some snags along the way, though, right?
Unfortunately, yeah, they did.
Like what kind of snags?
Well, as is often the case with these ventures into space funding, it was a big challenge.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be super expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
So getting all the money they needed consistently
Yeah.
for such a risky long-term project,
Yeah.
it just proved too difficult.
I can imagine investors might be a little hesitant to put their money into something that sounds so,
So far out there.
yeah, so far out there, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, for sure.
But was their technology part of the problem too?
Well, their tech was groundbreaking,
Yeah.
but actually developing it and then deploying it
Yeah.
to the scale you need for asteroid mining.
Right.
It was just a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pushing the limits of engineering,
Right.
and they ran into a ton of technical hurdles.
And then there's the whole question of like, is there even a market for this stuff?
Exactly. That's a good point.
Like, who's going to buy this?
Yeah. Will anyone buy these resources if we get them?
Yeah.
And that was a problem
Yeah.
because the potential was there, but nobody was really lining up to buy asteroid platinum.
Right.
So that market uncertainty on top of the financial and tech challenges
Yeah.
ultimately led to Planetary Resources being acquired
Oh.
by consensus in 2018.
Consensus, that's a blockchain company, right?
Yeah.
What a change.
Right.
What happened there?
It was a surprise for sure.
Yeah.
And basically, they completely shifted away from asteroid mining
Oh.
and turned their attention to blockchain applications.
Huh. So I guess the idea of space riches wasn't enough?
It seems that way.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't overcome those immediate realities
Yeah.
of the market and the tech limitations.
Okay, well, let's shift gears a little bit and
Okay,
talk about the other company we mentioned earlier,
Right.
Deep Space Industries.
BSI,
40S. Yeah, they were founded in 2013.
a little bit later.
Yeah. And they also wanted to, get the resources from asteroids, but their approach was different, right?
Yeah, it was.
So,
They focused on this more incremental and some would say more practical approach,
okay.
really emphasizing sustainability and affordability.
Okay.
And they initially put most of their attention on something called ISRU.
What's that?
It stands for In Situ Resource Utilization, which is essentially living off the land but in space.
Oh, okay. So instead of just jumping right into these huge mining operations, they were thinking about how to use what they found in space
Exactly.
to help them stay in space longer.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah, they realized that even just getting water from asteroids,
Water.
yeah,
Okay.
could totally change space exploration.
Really?
Think about it.
Okay.
Water is essential for life support, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But you can also break it down into its components.
Oh, right.
And what do you get?
Rocket fuel.
Exactly. Rocket fuel.
Wow.
And if you could get that from asteroids,
Yeah.
it'd be way cheaper
Right.
and more efficient.
Than bringing it all the way up from Earth.
Exactly.
Especially for these longer missions.
Exactly. Like setting up interplanetary gas stations.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's really cool. But how are they going to get the water from these asteroids?
Well, their technology was really unique.
What was it like? For scouting, they had these tiny little probes called fireflies.
Fireflies.
Yeah,
Okay.
really cost-effective for those initial asteroid flybys.
Oh, okay. So small but mighty.
Exactly.
And how about actually collecting samples from the asteroids?
Well, for that, they had their Dragonfly spacecraft.
Okay.
These were designed to basically meet up with asteroids,
Yeah.
grab some of that surface material.
What's the surface material called?
It's called regolith,
Regolith. Okay.
and then bring it back for analysis.
Okay. And what about actually getting the water out?
Ah, yes. The water extraction. They were working on this prototype system called CWEX.
CWEX. What's that stand for?
It stands for Comet Water Extraction System.
Oh.
And it was basically a space-age solar oven.
Wow.
Yeah. So it would bake the asteroid rock
Okay.
to release those trapped water molecules
Oh, wow.
and then capture and purify the water.
So they had it all figured out.
They had the scouting, the sampling, and the extraction.
Yeah. Complete toolkit.
Pretty much, yeah. But they knew they couldn't do it alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they partnered up with some big names like NASA and the European Space Agency.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a big deal for a young company like DSI.
Yeah, I bet. What did they get out of those partnerships?
Well, those collaborations were super important for DSI.
Yeah.
They got funding, which they really needed,
Yeah.
but also access to all this expertise
Right.
and resources that they couldn't have gotten on their own.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, it gave them credibility.
Right.
Like, it showed the space community that their tech and approach were legit.
Okay, so DSI was taking this more measured approach,
Yeah, you could say that.
focusing on essential resources like water
Right.
and working with these established organizations.
Exactly.
Sounds like a solid plan.
It did seem that way.
But I'm guessing they ran into some of the same problems that Planetary Resources did.
Yeah, unfortunately they did.
Really?
Even though their approach was different,
Yeah.
those same basic hurdles were still there.
Like what?
Well, developing space tech that's also cost-effective
Yeah.
is just incredibly hard.
Yeah.
And even with the government helping out,
Yeah.
it was tough to show investors that asteroid mining was actually going to make money.
I guess even if you're just focused on water,
Right.
you still need to show a profit.
Exactly. Those upfront costs are so high.
Yeah.
And it's unclear when you'll actually see a return.
Right.
So it's still a hard sell.
So what ended up happening to DSI?
Well, they ended up being acquired, too,
Oh, wow.
by Bradford Space in
Mhm.
2019.
Another acquisition.
Yeah.
So what happened to their asteroid mining goals?
Well, Bradford Space was mostly interested in DSI's knowledge of satellite propulsion systems.
Okay.
So their asteroid ambitions got put on hold.
It's interesting how both these companies,
Yep.
even though they did things differently, they both hit the same roadblocks.
Yeah. It really shows you how hard it is to start a new industry from scratch,
Yeah.
especially one as complex and expensive as asteroid mining.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we've got these two companies,
Yeah.
both with these big ideas about using the resources on asteroids,
Mm-hmm.
but both running into the realities of, getting funding,
Yeah.
dealing with tech limitations,
Mm-hmm.
and not really knowing if there's even a market for what they're doing.
It's a classic story of ambition and innovation
Yeah,
clashing with the challenges of making dreams come true.
yeah, it is.
And it makes you wonder, what's next for asteroid mining?
Yeah, and what we can learn from these pioneers.
Exactly. Those are some great questions.
And we're going to dig into those questions even more when we come back.
Sounds good.
We've been talking about planetary resources and deep space industries, trying to get that asteroid mining industry going.
Right.
But what I think is so interesting is that even though neither company actually, got to the point of mining asteroids,
Mm-hmm.
Their work seems to have, like, really changed the way people think about space.
Yeah, that's true. They kind of shifted the conversation, you know?
From, like, can we mine asteroids to how do we mine asteroids?
Exactly.
And that's huge.
It is. It's been really influential.
So they were like trailblazers.
Yeah, I like it.
Maybe they didn't strike gold themselves,
Right.
but they showed everyone where to look.
Yeah, and we've seen that play out in a few ways.
No, like how?
Well, on the private sector side,
Uh-huh.
there's been a surge in startups.
Really?
Yeah, focusing on all sorts of things.
Like what?
Asteroid mining, of course,
Okay.
but also like manufacturing in space.
Wow.
And they're all building on what these early companies started.
So they really did, like, plant the seeds for a whole new space economy.
Yeah, I think so.
That's amazing. What about governments? Have they been paying attention to all this?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Really?
You're seeing more and more investment in asteroid mining feasibility studies
From, like, space agencies?
from space agencies all over the world.
Wow.
And some are even putting together missions
Missions too.
to actually explore and analyze possible asteroid targets.
Wow. So they're not just, like, doing studies.
Right? They're taking it to the next level.
That's really cool, but I guess I still wonder, like, why should we here on Earth care about this?
That's a fair question.
Like, it's not like we'll be putting asteroid fuel in our cars anytime soon, right?
Probably not, no.
So why should we care?
Well, the thing is, the impact of asteroid mining, it goes way beyond just the economic benefits.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think about the tech advancements that are happening because of this.
Okay, like what?
Well, robotics, for example,
Okay.
and artificial intelligence,
Hmm.
to have those things work in space,
Yeah.
which is a crazy, harsh, unpredictable environment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They have to be super advanced.
Right.
And that's pushing the limits of what we can do.
So basically trying to mine asteroids is making us better at robotics and AI?
Exactly. And those things have tons of uses back here on Earth.
Right, like what?
Oh, I don't know, disaster relief,
Okay.
deep sea exploration,
Okay.
even just advanced manufacturing.
So this stuff that's being developed for space could actually help us out here too.
Exactly. You could have ripple effects across all kinds of industries.
That's awesome. And what about, like, resource sustainability? Have you thought about that?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, our population keeps growing.
Right. And our demand for resources, too.
Yeah.
And asteroid mining could help us deal with that problem
I see what you mean. Like, it's a way to get more resources without...
without depleting Earth's resources.
Exactly.
Plus, asteroids have elements that are super rare on Earth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which means we could have all these new materials and technologies.
That we can't even imagine yet.
Exactly. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing, but we're still just figuring all this out, right?
Yeah, we are.
Like, there are a lot of challenges.
Absolutely.
Before asteroid mining is, like, an everyday thing.
Yeah, there are tech challenges,
Yeah.
economic challenges, and even legal challenges.
Oh, legal challenges. What do you mean by that?
Well, who owns an asteroid?
That's a good question.
Right.
Yeah.
There's this thing called the Outer Space Treaty.
Okay.
It's from 1967. And it's basically the law for space.
Okay.
And it says that no country can own a celestial body.
Okay.
But it doesn't say anything about companies or people taking resources from those bodies.
Oh, so it's kind of a gray area.
It is. And that makes investors nervous
Yeah, I bet.
because they don't know what the rules are.
Right.
So it's even harder to get funding for asteroid mining.
So we need better laws for space, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah. We need clear rules.
Yeah.
So everyone knows what's allowed
Right.
and how to do things responsibly.
Okay. And it's not just about ownership, right?
No, it's
We have to think about the environment, too.
exactly like what happens if we start messing with these asteroids?
Yeah.
What are the long-term consequences?
We don't want to create problems for the future.
Exactly. We have to be careful.
So this is where companies like Planetary Resources and deep space industries, they're really important.
Yeah.
Because they were like the first ones to try this.
They were the test cases.
Yeah.
And they showed us what works and what doesn't.
So even though they didn't reach their goals,
Right.
they still helped us figure out where we're going.
They did. They charted a course for the future.
I like that. So asteroid mining is more than just a tech challenge.
It is.
It's about innovation,
Mhm.
working together,
Absolutely.
and really thinking about the ethics and the legal stuff.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's an exciting time to be following all this.
It really is.
We're like at the beginning of a whole new era
I know. It's amazing.
where humanity is going beyond Earth.
Into the cosmos.
And the lessons we've learned from these pioneers,
Yeah,
they're going to be so valuable as we move forward.
they will.
So for our listeners, this raises some big questions, right?
It does.
Like, what do you think the future holds for asteroid mining?
Yeah, what do you think? Will it become like a normal thing?
Yeah, or will it be too hard and just stay a dream?
And will it be something we do together as a planet?
Yeah, or will it be all about companies trying to make money?
These are tough questions.
Yeah, but they're worth thinking about.
They are, because the future of space,
Yeah,
it's being decided right now.
and we can all be a part of it.
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy to think that asteroid mining went from like sci-fi
Yeah.
to something people are actually investing in.
It really is amazing how fast things are changing.
It is, and we've talked about, how asteroid mining could be beneficial, like
Right.
giving us more resources and helping us make advancements in robotics and AI.
Right.
But I'm curious about like specific applications.
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Like what could we actually do with all this stuff?
One area that I think is really exciting is space-based manufacturing.
Space-based manufacturing, what's that?
So imagine building like huge structures,
Okay.
habitats, or even spacecraft.
In space?
Yeah, directly in space.
Using materials from asteroids?
Using materials from asteroids.
So instead of launching everything from Earth.
Right, which is super expensive
Yeah.
and difficult.
You could just build stuff where it's going to be used
Exactly, you'd be a total game changer.
for like space exploration and stuff?
Yeah, for exploration and colonization.
Wow.
Like imagine building a moon base
Okay.
or a Mars base
Yeah.
using stuff from asteroids that are right there.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, it would make things so much easier and cheaper.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about water and those platinum group metals. What other resources are out there?
Oh, there's a ton of stuff.
Like what?
Asteroids have all sorts of elements.
Okay.
Some of them are super rare here on Earth.
Yeah. Give me an example.
Okay, well, some asteroids have a lot of rare Earth elements.
What are those used for?
Oh, all kinds of things.
Like what?
Electronics,
Mm.
renewable energy technologies, even advanced medical stuff.
So asteroid mining could help us create new technologies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this treasure chest of materials.
Wow. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is.
But I'm sure there's some downsides too, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like risks and ethical stuff we need to think about.
For sure. We have to be really careful with this.
Yeah, what about the environment?
That's a big one.
What happens if we start mining all these asteroids?
Yeah. It will mess up the environment in space.
Yeah, and what about like conflict?
Ooh, that's a good point.
If these asteroids become really valuable,
Yeah.
won't that cause problems between countries or companies?
It could definitely lead to competition,
Yeah.
maybe even conflict.
So that's why we need those space laws.
Exactly. We need rules so that everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and things stay peaceful.
Right. It's about cooperation
Yeah.
and making sure everyone has access to these resources.
And no is like, taking over space.
Yeah, don't want any space wars.
So it sounds like asteroid mining. It
yeah,
has a lot of potential,
it does.
but it also comes with some big challenges.
It does, but I think we can handle them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we work together
And,
and really think about the long-term consequences.
and respect space.
Exactly. Space is vast and complex.
Yeah.
We need to treat it with respect.
It's a really exciting time for space exploration.
It is.
And, using the resources we find out there, it feels like we're at the start of something brand new.
Yeah, like a new chapter.
And what we've learned from these early companies like
Yeah.
Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industries,
Right.
it's going to be so helpful as we move forward.
They were the pioneers.
Yeah.
They showed us what's possible.
Even if things didn't go exactly as planned.
Yeah, their legacy lives on.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with this.
Okay.
The future of space is happening right now.
And we can all be a part of it.
Doesn't matter if you're an engineer or a scientist
Or a student.
or just someone who's curious about space.
Exactly.
There's a place for you.
So stay curious, stay informed,
And keep looking up.
because the future's out there.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Until next time.
Keep exploring.